everybody. Welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host, Maxine, and we're on episode 63. We are in the new year. This is the first episode of 2020, so thank you guys for just tuning in. And thank God we are here for another year, another opportunity to push towards our goals, anyway, you know that bullshit people be saying. Okay, look, I got pushed and motivated to just go ahead and record. I mean, I was obviously going to release a new episode, but the timing of this is just superb because you know how in the new year niggas like to pop up. Y'all know where I'm going with this. New year, Happy New Year texts want to come up all of a sudden. New Year, I miss you texts want to come up all of a sudden. New Year, you're not dead anymore. Suddenly you're alive and you remember my number. Who am I referring to? You guessed it, Boston Bay yet again. So let me give y'all some backstory because the last time we've communicated, me and him, it was in 2019, okay? It was the second day after my break from my Thanksgiving break. I had a whole week and a day off, okay? And that was the last time we communicated. I texted him last. That was the last time that we exchanged anything. I was the last person sending a text. The last text I sent was, hey, how'd you sleep? Hey, how you doing? I was trying to start a new conversation post our previous conversation when he got in his feelings yet again and was not taking accountability to the fact that I was there for a whole week. I was home in Boston for a whole week and he did not make time to see me. He did not prioritize me. He did not care to just but he did not care to take me out or just spend time with me in any capacity. He kept on having excuses after excuses after excuses. And during that week, I would reach out to him, of course, and say, hey, what are you doing tonight? Or what are you doing tomorrow? It was always some excuse. And I finally got to asking him why, okay, so do you plan on hanging out with me before I leave? And he's like, yes, Maxine. Okay, so when? Because right now is Thursday and my last day was Saturday. Okay, so at what point do you plan on hanging out with me? And of course, Thanksgiving Day is off limits, right? Because you gotta be with your family. Even though we've been knowing each other for 3 and dating and on and off for 3 years, there still is no priority despite family holidays. So you know how you're with somebody, even though it's unofficial, if you care enough for them, you will still kind of make time to see them, even though it could be on a day when it's a family holiday. Okay, after you fucking eat your feast of a meal, you could still communicate with me and see, hey, are you free at 9, 7? You're not eating all day with your family. At some point, you got to go home and decompress. Either way, we didn't spend time together at all during that whole week. And he wanted to argue with me and say his grandmother suddenly passed away. And she did. I'm not saying that didn't happen. But she passed away literally the last day before I was heading back to Houston. Literally the last day. So how fucking convenient is that? How convenient is fucking that? Who am I, Cardi B? Seriously, how convenient is that? Okay, obviously you gotta be with your family when that happens. But my anger and my resentment remains because you had a whole 6 days previously to spend time with me. You had a whole 6 days before your grandmother passed away. So don't put your whole grandmother card when it's time to see me. Oh, well, my grandmother died. We can't hang out today like I thought. No. You should have been wanting to hang out with me as soon as I touched down. Because as I touched down, it was the same nigga on my phone talking about, Max, are you still going to be mad at me while you're here in Boston? You still really not going to see me here while you're here in Boston? This is the same nigga. But all of a sudden, that urgency is gone. All of a sudden, like, what happened to that nigga? Huh? What happened to that nigga who was just like, I know I got to do better. You know, it was at that point when I said to him, your anger is out of bounds. You need to check that, pretty much. And he responded in agreement. He responded in a promise. Literally, he promised to get better. He's like, I promise I'll get better. I promise. Okay? Did he get better? No. Was it bullshit? Absolutely. Okay? And he does this thing where let me try to soften her up right now so I could kind of get in there and continue to be the fuck ass nigga that he is. Like, let me just continue that. And that's what he demonstrated. You know, the same first day of my Thanksgiving break was so urgent about seeing me and was so urgent about making me feel like he's gonna be a better man. Suddenly that urgency is gone when it's time for us to actually spend time together, go on a date, hang out, etc. You know, suddenly you have all these basketball excuses. My son's in basketball camp. My son's doing a basketball journey. My son's on a basketball. I don't give a fuck, sir. I don't care. And now your grandmother died. I still don't give a fuck. Like, I'm sorry. Because the point remains. And I wouldn't be a heartless. And I'm not even trying to be heartless. It's not heartless because this wouldn't have, like, I wouldn't be feeling these feelings if he were to have never showed this type of behavior previously. Okay? When there's a history of not making time for me, when there's a history of not prioritizing me, of course, I'm going to be angry every time it happens yet again. And every time it happens after you tell me you'll do better and you'll be better and I miss you. You really gonna be here and not hang out with me, Max? But all this bullshit. So anyway, so that's the context in case y'all forgot. And so the last text I sent, like we argued with each other because he felt like, oh, you know, you should, like, pretty much I should be sympathetic because his grandmother passed away. And I'm like, that's not it, sir. I was sympathetic. As soon as you told me, I said, I'm so sorry that happened. You know, let me know if you need, like, I'm sympathetic. I'm a compassionate person, dead ass. Okay. I'm really the greatest person ever. No, but I'm really compassionate as fuck. Okay. And so that didn't make me not compassionate. I still felt how I felt. Your grandmother's death is not going to trump the fact that you did not make time for me the whole 6 motherfucking days I was home, nigga. So it ain't about your grandmother's death. That's why I could easily say, fuck your grandmother's death. It has nothing to do with the fact that there were 6 days previous to that event when you could have made time for me and you chose not to. And that's what it is. We're all busy. We all have responsibilities. We all have things that we got going on. But you make time for what you want and who you want, period. Okay? So that's it. Anyway, that was it. We haven't spoken in 5-6 weeks. Okay, haven't said anything to each other. I haven't texted him. He never texted me back from the last text that I sent, which was the, hey, how you doing? Did you sleep well? Blah, blah, blah. You know, trying to be nice. I'm still a nice person, despite the fact you try to play me every time, and yet you do it again. Okay, so I'm not hitting you up. I'm over it. I wrote this goodbye letter, this goodbye spiritual letter to make my spirit know I'm done with this nigga, okay? To give me the strength when he does hit me up and I'm somehow wooed again by the bullshit assness of it all, okay? So that brings me to the new year. And as I said earlier, when we get to the new year, niggas like to creep up, Okay, suddenly iMissyou's become very present in your iMessage thread. Okay, suddenly all that you needed to say is said because it's the new year or it's the embarking of a new year. Okay, so he hits me up, Happy New Year, Maxine, literally verbatim, not no, hey, I'm so sorry I've been out, or I'm sorry for my behavior, I want to wish you happy. It's no, he doesn't lube it. You know how you have a lubricant when you kind of have to warm things up, touch my nipple a little, make it hard before you fuck me. No, he just fucks you. Okay? He fucks you and you're supposed to be good with it even though my pussy is dry as fuck. My pussy is dry, nigga. You don't just hit me up and say Happy New Year, Maxine, when I haven't heard from your ass in 6 motherfucking weeks. 6 motherfucking weeks. 6 motherfucking weeks. What? What are we doing? I'm not, and the thing is, because it has been such a reoccurring thing between us, it feels normal to him. So he's probably thinking, and I can't even fault him. I just fault myself. And that doesn't mean he doesn't hold any responsibility, but I could still be introspective, as I always am. And I can still recognize, okay, the reason why he thinks this is okay, because it has been okay for so long now. I haven't stood by and really stood tall to my integrity when it comes to him. I've allowed these fuck-ass behaviors to continue for so long. So of course he's going to think it's normal to just hit me up, Happy New Year, Maxine, after not talking to me for the past 6 weeks, motherfucker. What? Sir, I haven't heard from you in a month and a half, and you want to, no, Happy New Year back. So I didn't text him back, nothing. I want to say like a week later, so this happened last week, the whole Happy New Year text, when New Year was happening, right? He texts me again sometime this week, talking about, yo, literally his only text to me. Yo. I look at it and I'm like, no. Yeah. Yo to the no. I'm not responding still. Okay? So then I get a text today and I'm recording. I don't like telling when I'm recording something, but I get a text, let's say, 2 days, about 2 days from the yo text, okay? I get a text from him talking about, and mind you, I don't have his number saved, I don't have his contact number saved, so I had to see in my unknown senders list, but I know his number, but I just try not to have his number saved just because of my sanity, okay? So he takes me up, says my name, Maxine, LOL. Next text, literally right after the first one, was, I'm in Houston, you asshole, LOL. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. This is how a grown man talks to me. I'm 28. He's 34. This is how a 34-year-old father talks to me. I'm in Houston, you asshole, LOL. And you gotta add the LOL to make the asshole not feel so heavy, right? You gotta add the LOL my dick. Please. Stop. Like, this is the shit I'm talking about. He calls me names. He disrespects me and he thinks it's a joke. And this just goes to the fact that in his fiber, I know he talks a lot about his hood past, right? Growing up in the projects, being homeless with his family, all this, blah. My father was an addict. He left me. Okay, Boys in the Hood is over. Hello? Boys in the Hood was a great cinematic, artistic portrayal of life in the early 90s. But I'm not talking about it anymore, nigga. Do better. Okay? I'm not saying there isn't residual effect from being impoverished, from having a crackhead as a father, from being homeless from time to time, from being abandoned by a parent and having gap teeth. He has gap teeth, and he kind of he expressed to me his his insecurity with that. Nigga, I don't give a fuck anymore, okay? And because I'm just a naturally compassionate person, he will milk that, okay? And this is the shit I deal with. When I don't respond, when I don't give him what he wants, he goes back to the fiber of his being, his survival, his dog eat dog, his angry ass, nigga ass mentality. This guy, he's a nigga. I don't know how else to say it. He's a nigga. Okay, nigga to his bones. Okay, he went to college. He has a college degree, bachelor's. That's it. Like he's a nigga. Okay, you want to be nigga eyes? This is a nigga for you. Okay. Anyway, he says that. I'm debating with myself, should I even respond? Because I feel in my bones that if I don't respond, he's going to hit me up again. Especially being that he says he's here in Houston for however long he's here for, probably just for the weekend. But my point is, I don't give a fuck. Like, you don't, what? It's just so, the thing is, it's just so illogical to me. You come here suddenly, right? And he's been to Houston before, and we still haven't hooked up when he has. Because the last time he was in Houston, we was on the outs yet again. And he hit me up trying to see where I'm at, blah, blah, blah. And I curved that nigga real quick. I was like, okay, I hope you enjoy your weekend here in Houston. That's literally what I texted him that time when he sent me that. And it's the same thing. Like, he comes here, because I remember the last time he came here, he was saying it was because this basketball schedule that he has with his son. I guess the coaches come here. I don't know if they come with the kids or not, but so that's one reason. I know he said he has some boys here in Houston that he, spend time with here and there. And so it's like, that's the only reason why he comes. He's never made it a point to come here to see me primarily. Like, okay, I could see my friends as a byproduct, right? But my goal here, Maxine, is to see you. It's to figure out your schedule and see how can we mesh, and I'll come for the weekend and blah, or however it is. He's never made a point to do that. And I would ask him, I would invite him. I've even given him my address, nigga, and we'll talk about that. I mean, maybe we will, I don't know. But I've even given him my address at one point, because I remember he was here and I was on my way here, and he was trying to figure out the distance between his hotel and my apartment. And foolishly, I gave him my address. I don't know if he still has it. I don't know if he saved it to my contacts, but that was a while ago. He would have to continuously scroll up and find my address. My thing is, this nigga's crazy. Like, he's half Jamaican, so he's crazy. And he grew up in the hood, so he's crazy. And he calls me asshole, so he's crazy. Like, all of these things, he's fucking crazy, okay? So my thing is, why do you think that's appropriate? Like, why do you think, anyway, I kind of lost my train of thought. I got distracted real quick. But, okay, so he says that I debate with myself, and I tell myself, because I know, that's what I say. Okay, so I think, I don't want to speak it, but I feel like if he recently had my address, like if he recently had it in a text, I feel like he would have been like, oh, I'm outside. Type of crazy. Like, I wouldn't hold it past him. I would not be surprised at the fuck all, okay? So I thought to myself, you know what? I know he's gonna text me again if I don't respond, especially being that he's here in Houston. So I gotta send a finale text to kind of Like, really show him where I'm at. I'm not just, like, being a pissy, moody bitch. No. Like, I've ruminated over the 20 reasons that I've listed of why this ain't shit. Why you ain't shit. Why what we have going on, what we had, hasn't been shit and hasn't been serving me. I literally wrote down all of the reasons why this isn't working, why you're not working for me, blah, blah, blah. I wrote it down in my notes and I said to myself, okay, I know what I'm feeling is not being this petty, or I'm just not gonna talk to you, blah, 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 but I'm good. I really do like you. No. This is me ruminating over all the reasons why you ain't shit and coming to the conclusion that I'm done. I wrote you a goodbye letter. I burned it up in my sink. I'm done. Like, that's finale, right? So I said to myself, okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and draft a text and I'm going to send it to him, and that's going to be that. And I'm not going to go back and forth with him because I know he's a back and forth type of nigga. Like, he needs to have the last word. He needs to show that he ain't phased when deep down inside he's phased. But that's that hoodness in him that can't show sweat, that can't show I'm really upset and I'm hurting and I miss you and I wish this could be better and I'll do better, blah, blah. He can't give me that because that's not who he is. He's too hood, okay? So here's what I said verbatim. You're crazy, period. I don't hear from you in 6 weeks after the last text I sent you. And now that you're suddenly in Houston, I'm supposed to just see you? No. You didn't make time for me when I was home for a whole week for Thanksgiving and should have made plans with me, and I put in parentheses, before the death of your grandmother happened. So I'm not accepting that as an excuse because that happened literally the last day of my break. And he knew the break that I had. Like, he knew when I was leaving. So it wasn't just it's a coincidence, but he knew my last day. So that's nigga, stop. Fuck you. And you, okay. Here's the last part I said. You don't take accountability ever. You dismiss my feelings. And I don't need to be doing this on and off shit with you over and over again. I'm tired. It's been 3 years of this bullshit ass behavior, and I'm done. Respect that. Wish you well. And mind you, I added the wish you well part after I've already cut and pasted the text from my drafts, and I decided, okay, before I send him, let me just sprinkle in some niceness because that's really who I am at my core. So I sprinkled in that niceness of saying wish you well. And the thing is, a lot of men are like this. The women will give a detailed thesis, okay? Will write you a whole dissertation, okay? Will be very emotional and vulnerable in their text to you, okay? And the nigga will be like, okay. Or the nigga will only address one portion of it. They won't give you the same energy in return, okay? And that's what it is. So I'm like, and I know with him, he doesn't text the way I text, of course. He's a man and he's a hood nigga. And so previously when we would have these moments, he would text like in separate lines. When I texted that, I texted it all in one bulk. Like, this is all I'm saying. I'm not going to give you another afterthought and another afterthought. No, this is all of my thoughts in one that I compiled and compressed together, okay? Yes, it was separated in 3, like, sort of paragraphs, but it's not a paragraph, essentially, okay? Anyway, he always responds with, like, 10 lines. One of the lines would be an emoji. He always uses the cool face emoji, the emoji that has the sunglasses. He always uses the laughing face emoji to show that he's not pressed and that he's too cool, all this crap. So he'll use that as one of the lines. And by line, I mean, you know how you send one line of text, like, okay, but da-da-da-da, and then the next line of text, and then the next line, that's him, okay? So I'm already anxious because I don't like going back and forth with niggas. especially him, like he just takes it to a whole nother level where it becomes this petty exchange. And I just can't believe you're 35, 34, 30. I don't care. You're in your mid 30s, nigga. You're a father and you're acting like this. This is disgusting. Okay? Y'all, he responded. Yo, get ready to laugh because I'm laughing already and I've already laughed. So I'm just going to get this out. Okay? He responded to all of that I said. Mind you, the last line I said was wish you well. Let's make sure we remember that, okay? He responded and said, shut up. And mind you, not the shut up, the shut up, that one. And by that, I mean he spelled it as SHUDUP, okay? Then he sent me 3 laughing face emojis, and to top it off, because the shut up wasn't enough, and the asshole that he sent me earlier obviously wasn't enough. To top that shit off, what did he send me? The middle finger emoji, the black one, because, you know, he got to make the right skin tone. I'm fucking, like, it's absurd. It is absurd. Like, this is a nigga. This is a nigga. Like, this is nigga capital. Like, if he wanted to write a book of how to be a nigga, especially to a woman, he bestseller. I'll buy the book because, damn, like, you really a nigga. God damn. Wow. Shut up. And not even I look at everything detailed. And the effort that he took to write that. It just speaks to my validity in why I had to finally let him go. It speaks to the fact that I should have let him go long ago. It speaks to the fact that he's still trash. There's no growth. There's no vulnerability, you know? There's no nice. It's just at the core, he's not nice. That's what it is. He's not a nice person. He's not a sweet person. And you may think, well, why have you been why did you even deal with him for the past 3 years? Blah, blah, blah. Because it's been an on and off thing. And so it was never consistently of this type of behavior. But yes, it was. Because every time we were back on, it always led to us being off again. But I would see these examples of poor nigga ass behavior. I would see him calling me out of my name. I would see him not making time for me, gaslighting me, making me feel like shit, and making it be like, oh, you're crazy. It's always one thing with you, Maxine. Like, no, it's not. You're crazy. He projects his emotions onto me when it's really him. He'll call me crazy, but he's really the one who's crazy. Y'all, I swear, I could guarantee you, he's going to text me again. Just to make it clear, I did not respond because obviously I said I'm not going to go back and forth, but I definitely did not respond. After he said shut up and gave me the laughing face emoji and the middle finger emoji, I did not respond, okay? I could guarantee you he's going to text me again, okay? He's going to text me in a manner that's trying to show this vulnerability because this nigga's done this before. He's done this shit before. It's nothing new. I could predict his behavior. He is still who he is at his core, and there's no reasoning with that, okay? And he's like, I heard someone say this before where some people are raised out of love and some people are raised out of survival, okay? Oh, I heard this from Little Mo. She was on the Breakfast Club and she said that. And she was speaking to her now former marriage of from that wrestler guy, that boxer. I forgot his name, but he was crazy as fuck too. He beat on her and made her feel unsafe and was just a horrible ass nigga, cheated on her, of course. The same dude that was on, they were both on Marriage Boot Camp. Okay? And so she said that some people are raised off of love and some people are raised off of survival. Okay. And so when it's time for them to grow up and when they are in their adulthood, instead of operating off of love, instead of being nice, being caring, being compassionate, being understanding, all of those stem from love. Okay. Instead of being that, the person is naturally, impulsively angry, hateful, dramatic, insecure. Like there's so many different other negative things that a person will turn out to be when they are raised out of survival, right? And takes no accountability and is really kind of crazy in the head, and all of these reasons why it's so important that we love people. Like it's so important that when you have children or when you're raising children, whether they're your own or not, it's important to show them love, because you create some fuck ass niggas and bitches, right? But you really create some fuck ass niggas when they're in their adulthood. And it's like, damn, you would think someone at this age with this accomplishment and that accomplishment and this parenthood under their belts, you would think they would be mature. You would think they would know how to communicate. You would think they'll be emotionally vulnerable and available, but they're not. People need to understand that there is so much residue that we deal with from our childhood. And if you don't deal with it, and if you don't get healing, if you don't recognize your faults and do better, you will continue to perpetuate poor ass behavior. You will continue. And so it's just like, this is not for me to excuse his behavior at all. But you know how I think. Like, I think deeper than what you give me. I see it for what it really is. And there is no excuse to it. And there is no, okay, let me just be understanding. He grew up really hard. No, at some point, you have to recognize, damn, I'm a shitty ass person. And I know it's because my father wasn't around. I know it's because I saw drugs at a young age. I know, okay, yes, they are valid reasons, but you also have to do the work. Like, you're going to live a miserable life, never receiving love, never giving love at all in the romantic sense, never really allowing yourself to feel that and be that. And it's just, I feel sorry for that man. Kiki boys, I don't know who that man, I feel sorry for him, okay? There is just, I recognize that is a fault. And I recognize that I don't deserve this. As loving and as great as I am, as compassionate and as understanding and as sweet as I am, why am I excusing this behavior again? You know, why? There's nothing. There's no excuse for it. There's no back and forth. Nigga, I'm done. Okay, so I just felt good, honestly, when I said what I said. I felt like I articulated myself well and clearly. And of course, if he was a nice man, right? If he was a nice man to his core, he would, I feel like the nice thing to do in response to that would be some accountability, right? Would be, you know what, Maxine, I'm sorry for all that I've done to you. And, you know, if that is your wish to end things and be done, I wish you well. You know, have a good rest of the year. Or, you know, just kind of end it there with maturity, with love, with some type of love. Like, you would think the three, and like I said, it hasn't been a consistent 3 years. Like, we wasn't together every single day. We wasn't in a committed relationship. Like, we never talk about that. He never really wanted to be in one. And so I kind of accepted that. Like, that was okay for me when I knew essentially I don't want to be in this for long. So look, I have no hard feelings. I'm proud of myself for speaking up and for not folding, you know, especially considering the fact that he's here right now. considering the fact that I could have thought to myself, because I know I would have in the past, maybe, I would have probably been like, well, let me just get over it, or let me just kind of tuck it under, under the rug, because he is here, and it'll be great for him to just be in my space, and I could, no, it's not. And I thought about that again to myself. Even for a moment, I thought, should I just say fuck it to how I felt for so long? Should I just say fuck it to the fact that it's been over 5 weeks and I haven't heard from you, but now you're here and let me just invite you over and we'll fuck. Yeah. Like, no. It still is what it is, nigga. I'm still not okay with the fact that you didn't take accountability, okay, for you not making time for me. You still didn't take accountability for never seeing me the week that I'm just still stuck. Like, what the fuck? And then you want to put your grandmother has a fucking excuse. No. Okay? So, look, I feel good. Like I said, I'm proud of myself, and I know it's only up from here. I can speak that with confidence because this was a test, when I wrote down my goodbye letter to him amongst 2 other niggas who I wrote it to. But when I wrote his letter, I wrote out all of the things why this is whack. All the reasons why this is not productive and this is not healthy and this doesn't serve me, and why have I allowed, like, I wrote all of that down. Like, I am smart. I am intelligent. I know what it is. And why am I wasting my time with this fuck ass nigga? So, I'm just really proud of myself for standing up for myself. Ever since I made it a point to create boundaries, healthy boundaries in my relationships, I've really been shown the strength that I have to do so. I remember growing up, I would speak up, but then I would feel uncomfortable speaking up. I would feel like, I'll just put up with this behavior and, it'll eventually get better. When I feel like you're disrespecting me, I'm going to say something. Man or woman, okay? I'm going to say something. And I'm just so proud of myself ever since, the past summer, when I really set the intention to create healthy boundaries, to speak up, and to speak up more so with the confidence that I do have. I've seen a positive change in my relationships, and just in myself. So I'm just proud of myself, and I know y'all are proud of me. Boston Bay is done and over, and I feel so good about it. So that's that. I just wanted to update y'all real quick on that, and we're gonna get into some more topics, okay? Moving on, I want to get into Loni Love's comments recently on The Real. She's the co-host of The Real, and she shared her opinion on whether or not Black men are capable, and that's a key word here, are capable of being faithful in a romantic relationship. This stems from Kevin Hart's recent documentary on Netflix, and how he shared his infidelity that was pretty public and scandalous and embarrassing for him and his wife, his pregnant wife at the time. And in this documentary, I didn't watch it. I haven't watched it yet. I don't know if I really care to watch it. Maybe I'll watch it, maybe I won't. But I get this information from people who have watched it and have commented on it. So on the documentary, he is sharing how, I guess, ultimately cheating made him a better man. And it's, I guess it helped strengthen their relationship. And then Nico, his wife, agreed to that, or she was saying the same thing in her own confessional interview. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a moment. But Loni Love, her take on this, on whether Black men can be faithful, she stems it to slavery. And she believes that Black men cannot be faithful because of slavery. And slavery, there were many slave families who were broken up, who were ripped away from each other, and that was a common thing. The master will find either no use for you anymore and sell you off to somebody else. And the wife that you had for a couple of years or maybe a couple of months, you could have been a recent newlywed, but you are liable to get separated. And so that was pretty much of a norm back then. And 2019, 2020, to this day, there are many Black men who lack the image or the knowledge of just knowing what a family togetherness looks like, okay? So I understand there is definitely still residual effects of slavery, and I don't think that will ever go away. The problem that I have with this conversation is, on the real, they talked about how they could not understand because they were commenting on Joe Budden's take on Kevin Hart. And Joe Budden, I listen to his podcast religiously, and he was saying how, as a man, he could understand. Doesn't mean he condones, doesn't mean he encourages infidelity. He could understand how Kevin could cheat. He's constantly working, he's constantly on the road, he's constantly out and about. And in those moments when you are away from your spouse, I see it like this. And maybe I'm a cheater, but I understand. Okay, I get it. And I don't think cheating means you lack love and adoration for your spouse. I don't. I just think you just have a weak moment and you act on it every time. No, but seriously, here's the thing. I understand how someone who is constantly out on the road, who is away from his wife, and this goes to both men and women, okay? Let's not act like women don't cheat, okay? Because I know some who do or has in the past, right? I hate when people try to make it seem like it's just a man thing, and that's not the case. We have to be honest and recognize that there are female cheaters. There are women or wives or girlfriends, fiancés, whomever, who has cheated. And that is, I don't want to say it's a common thing, but it's something that does happen, and it's not exclusive to a specific gender. So let's just stop right there, okay? The second part to this is, we have to understand that when you are away from someone for a while, months at end, and you are missing out on their loving, their affection, their presence, their mere presence, you will look at the people around you, the people who you may come into contact more of than your wife or husband, and you may look at them in a way that you probably shouldn't look at them, right? You may look at them with lust in your eyes because that lust hasn't been quenched by your spouse because of the distance. Now, you could say, well, you should lack self-control. Absolutely. And that just brings me to the fact that I'm not condoning cheating. I'm not encouraging it. I'm just saying I could understand how one could kind of slip into some dick. I could understand how one could slip into some pussy. When you're lonely, loneliness is a drug, yo. Loneliness will have you do things that you really did not plan. And, people will say, well, how can you just fall on some dick? How can you just cheat? You planned, it was deliberate, and this is blah, blah. I don't feel like, and I feel like what I'm saying is crazy because I definitely don't want my man to be cheating on me. I definitely don't want to be cheating either. I'm just talking from the third party, okay? So I don't want this for myself, of course. But I just think in the home, in the unit that you have with your partner, there should be some clear understanding and clear conversations and clear communication between the two of y'all. You know, if you're not as sexual as you probably should be in the relationship, I don't understand how you could be confused that he or she cheated. You know, like, I don't understand how that could be like, I'm so blindsided. I thought we were perfect. You say you love me. Yeah, but we haven't fucked in 2 months. Yes, I'm cheating. Like, what? Why would you think I won't be? It's like, because I took these vows. I'm kidding. No, but dead ass though. I do mean that, because we have to recognize there are some things that people are sometimes lazy in a relationship and they get too comfortable. And by too comfortable, I mean they don't, like, your partner may not want or care to take you out on dates anymore as they used to. Your partner may not want to, you know, call you pet names, baby, love, sweetheart. Your partner suddenly is just distant, emotionally distant, sexually distant, and it comes to a point when the person who you were living with has husband and wife, or husband and husband, wife and whatever it is. The person you were living with is suddenly a roommate. You know, you're just there, y'all are coexisting, and you go about this life thing together, but there is no sensuality, there is no romance, there is no sex, and that is a problem. So when we get to the root of that, we have to understand, oh, that was why he cheated, or oh, that was why he or she strayed away as much or as long as they did. And like I said, I'm gonna keep on saying, I don't excuse it, but I think also, like, we have to be honest with ourselves, like, why there's a root to it. And I do hear the argument that, well, you know, you could be a great partner to someone, you know, giving him all the sex that he needs. You could be cooking for him, super attentive, sucking his dick. Everything is great. And he still cheats. Yeah, those niggas need to go to jail. Yeah, go to jail, because that's just fucking crazy. That's crazy. If I'm supplying all your needs, you know that Bible verse, the Lord will supply with all my needs. If I'm supplying you with all your needs, emotional, sexual, everything I'm supplying, and you still step out, go to jail. You need to go to jail. Like, you need to be sentenced right now, okay? I'm not excusing that for sure. But I am trying to shed light and understanding and explanation to the ones who are in a relationship and there is some emotional, sexual distance and disconnect between both parties in the relationship. There shouldn't be much of a surprise when cheating happens. Like, I get it. Okay, we haven't fucking too much. Of course, I would cheat on me too. Like, that is not even something I should be, or anyone should be, surprised about, you know? So, Lonnie Love, I think she's being teared down because people don't like to recognize slavery and the effects of it to this day on Black men and Black women, Black families. And there are a lot of Black men, of course, who are up in arms about it. And you have Charlemagne the God talking about, you know, his whole motto, Black men don't cheat, which is just like, nigga, okay. But, nigga, please. Like, you cheated on your wife for a whole 20 years and you just now became faithful. But Black men, okay, so you wasn't nigga, please. So, the thing is, a lot of Black men don't like to be accountable for their actions. Hence the nigga I was talking about earlier, Boston Bay. I don't want to call him Boston, that BB nigga, okay? But Black men don't like to hold themselves accountable. Black men don't like to say they're sorry, say they're wrong, and own up to it and do better and rectify that healing and pain. All, like, they don't like doing that. So of course, there are black men, solely black men, who are up in arms about Lonnie Love's comments. Now, I commend her for saying what she said, because it takes a lot of bravery speaking up and being a black woman and kind of speaking against black men in that moment. I don't think she may have meant it to be against them, but she's recognizing the fact that in her experience, probably, whether it's direct or whether it's through friends of hers who have dated black men, it's a reoccurring thing. And let's not act like it's not. Now, I'm not saying white men don't cheat. There are plenty of white men who are at their happy hour after a long day at Wall Street and fucking somebody else, grabbing a prostitute off the street, fucking her down, and then putting their wedding ring back on and going back home to their wife. Obviously, cheating happens from all genders, from all races. That is a normal thing. And in that same breath, I want black men to also recognize y'all are fucking cheaters. Like, that is it. And I am done. Okay? That's it. Of course, not all black men, but it doesn't sound juicy when we try to qualify it. But that is truly the thing. Y'all are cheaters. Like, that's why you so mad. The fuck? But I just think, at some point, I want black men to be honest and recognize their faults. Now, I am, as much shit as I talk about y'all niggas, I do love y'all. Like, I do want the best, and I want y'all to be safe, and I want y'all to be protected. I want y'all to be successful. But what irks me the wrong way is that there seems to be a lack of support from black men towards black women. And I say that when I see a lot of black men, whether it's in the industry or maybe some around me, when I see them with non-black women, it does something to my spirit in the moment. I remember being younger and really feeling bothered by that, because I just felt like, oh, okay. And I understand love is love, and people may have their preferences, but sometimes preferences could be rooted in internal biases and internal racism and hatred to their own same skin sisters, okay? And that's what I don't have. That's what I don't have peace with, okay? But I think it's important for black men to just recognize many of y'all, and it may not be you. Maybe there's one or two, out of every 20 black men up in a line, maybe one or two of y'all have been faithful. But the chances is no. And I just, look, can we talk? Like, can we just have an honest conversation about it and then be it at that? I think that's fine to just be honest about it. But I also don't appreciate when we're not being honest about cheating in general. Like, cheating doesn't have to be this whole, well, you should have just told me you wasn't happy. You should have told me, I wasn't giving you what you wanted. Sometimes people do communicate very clearly. Sometimes we do say, hey, I was unhappy with this, or hey, I really don't like when you do that, or hey, but sometimes that is clearly said and there is still no change. And so to get up in arms when someone does stray from the relationship is like, well, I've tried to have a conversation with you. I've tried to give out very clear indicators and statements saying, I don't like it when you do this, please stop, blah, 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 I'm not turned on, or whatever it is. That should be enough to embark change in one's behavior. Not in hopes, but that should just hopefully, I should want to make my partner happy, right? And vice versa. And when people are in a relationship and they're expressing their qualms with their partner and the partner's not receiving it well, you can't be so strong in your feelings that they stepped out when you should have known. Like, you should know he didn't like when you said that and you kept on saying it, that eventually he's going to be tired of coming home. Eventually he's going to be tired of you nagging. And instead of nagging back, I'm just going to stay over my friend's house. Okay? And I'm just going to have a good time over there. Okay? Moving forward, speaking of blackness, there were some recent derogatory comments told towards Ari Lennox, Blu Ivy, yet again, and Teyana Taylor, okay? And this is something that is just so common in the Black community that it's pretty disturbing that till this day, Black features are seen as ugly, are seen as unattractive, and just never the standard of beauty. Never. And you see that a lot in media. But let me just give y'all context. So pretty much it was this Black journalist who has a check, who's a verified person on social media. And there was one tweet that referenced Ari Lennox and Teyana Taylor has, oh, these girls are beautiful, but why do they look like Rottweilers? And that's one. So that's already disturbing. Then Blu Ivy, who has been a target of physical attack on just her appearance. Not physical, like no one actually harmed her physically, but there's been so much attack on her physical appearance that people have yet to tap into their sensitivity. It's really disturbing. It's all stemmed from her having thick 4C natural hair, and a lot of people being up in arms. I keep on saying up in arms, but a lot of people are felt like, oh, how come Beyonce doesn't comb her hair? Or, oh, her hair is always undone. And that's a whole different topic about the standard of beauty when we talk about Black hair, Black women's hair, and Black natural hair. But people referenced her and said, I hope, it was a journalist, a verified journalist that referenced her and said, I hope she turns out to look more like Beyonce instead of Jay-Z, because Jay-Z's features are ugly, okay? And Jay-Z has been given this criticism for a long time now. You know, he was referenced to look like a donkey, just an animal because of his facial features. And what I have a problem with is that when we look at big noses on Black men and Black women, we immediately think animal, we think ugly, we think just completely unattractive. And I know how that feels. I remember growing up, I have a big nose, and I still have my nose is my nose. So I remember growing up, my nose was big, still is big. But I guess when you grow more into your looks, it doesn't look as big, or maybe not. But my nose is big when I was younger, and I felt super insecure about it because I remember my classmates. I remember in middle school, was it 5th grade, 6th grade, and 7th grade, I was not deemed beautiful because of my big nose. And I remember someone commented, and I overheard someone saying, oh, Maxine is cool, but she just got a big nose. And that was like my marker. Like, okay, she's cool, but she just got a weird way of laughing. But no, my negative was my natural feature, was my Black feature, was my ancestral feature, my nose, that I don't have control. I didn't gain this nose by doing a practice. I didn't, alter my nose, and I just got this is how I look naturally. And so I felt super insecure about my nose and how it spread on my face when I would smile or laugh, and I just felt so insecure. I remember being younger and pressing down on my nostrils, trying to minimize the size of my nose. That's how insecure I was about it, because of the hatred that my peers spewed at me based off of my Blackness. Simple as that. And many of my peers were Cape Verdean, and many of them were Haitian too, but I guess they didn't have the nose that I have. And so if you didn't have European-like feature, because many of the Cape Verdeans, well, all the Cape Verdeans at my school were looked at as the standard of beauty. Like, they were like, you gotta look like them, okay? You gotta have 3C, curly, smooth hair. Your edges gotta be smooth and put down. That it doesn't need to be aided by a gel cream. You have to look you have to be super light skinned. And their features, their facial features were very European-like, as far as there wasn't a big nose, and their skin was much lighter, and their lips wasn't too pronounced, and all of this stuff. And kids are mean. Let's just say that, period. But I don't think kids recognize when they're being racist. So I'm going to just leave it at that. But there is just, when you think back to how people spoke to you and spoke about you, it really hurts, and it really chimes into your self-esteem. And I can only imagine Teyana Taylor and Ari Lennox, maybe when they were younger, they experienced the same thing. And considering that Blu Ivy is 6'9", I forgot how old she is, but considering how old she is, and her being just a baby, and people are just disrespecting her natural facial features, her natural look, just because she doesn't look a certain way to people. It's just really disturbing, and it's disheartening that not y'all, but the people who do this, they just hate blackness. If you're black, you gotta look a certain type of black to be beautiful. You can't be a super black, right? You can't have 4C hair, which is what I have, super thick hair. You can't have super thick hair. You can't have extreme, quote unquote, black features and be looked at as beautiful. And it's just really sad and you can't have super dark skin. So I had dark skin, and I have dark skin, but think about it as a young child, having dark skin, having a big nose, having super thick hair. I felt like, okay, maybe I'm not that pretty. Maybe I'm not ever going to have a boyfriend and experience this love because I don't look like this standard of beauty. And I can only imagine so many other people, so many other young girls feeling the same way. And it's just so sad. Like, I dealt with that when I was young. That was years ago. And to be in 2020 and to have black people do it to each other, it's just so triggering for me. Like, it reminds me of my black peers doing the same thing. So when we think about, and when we talk about racism, it's not just done by whites. It's not just done by Asians. It's not just done by whomever else is not considered black. It's done by our own people. We are speaking anti-black when we say things like, oh, I hope Blu Ivy looks more like Beyonce instead of Jay-Z. What's wrong with Jay-Z? If Blu Ivy had a big nose like him, she will still be like, why is there a certain standard of beauty? Why can't we all be our own standard of beauty? Why do I have to look like a certain way? Why do I have to have European-like features in order to be considered beautiful? Why do I have to have lighter skin, a thin, pointy, small, button style nose in order to be considered beautiful? And that shouldn't be a thing, And I just want us to get to a space when that is done, when we don't have to do that anymore, when we could look at all types of black people, because we are obviously not a monolith. We can look at each other and see, wow, you have a beautiful eye structure. You have beautiful lips. I love the way your nose sits on your face. Like, there should be multiple ways of beauty in which we describe it as, and we don't do that. And so when I was privy to the whole situation with Ari Lennox, Teyana Taylor, Blu Ivy, and Jay-Z, it's just so sad. It's really disheartening when we just hate each other and we do it out loud. And Ari Lennox said something very profound in her live while she was addressing this. She was saying how y'all don't notice when people don't do it to Hispanic women, Indian women, blah, blah, blah. Only Black women are compared to animals. Only we are compared to animals. Only we are looked at as, oh, you look like a gorilla. You look like a monkey. That is just disgusting. And that's so true, because I don't hear Cape Verdeans, Spanish people, whomever, looking or being compared to as, but being compared to as animals. Instead, they're just immediately deemed as beautiful because they look a certain standard of beauty that has been accepted throughout the years in society. And I just think we have to be mindful of the things that we say to each other as Black people. Instead of saying, girl, when you gonna get your hair done? I think that's anti-Black too. Don't ever say that shit to me. I'm gonna cuss you out. Like, I'm gonna say that's anti-Black. Okay? And I've been told that many times before. Like, no. How do you know it's done or not? Until I say it out loud. Girl, I need to get my hair done. Then you could say, oh, okay. But even then, you don't say, yeah, girl, you do. Like, I don't know. I just think there is this agency that Black people feel like they have to each other when there is no relationship. Like, if you're not my cousin, my sister, if you're not anywhere in my family, don't say shit. Like, if you're just a friend, and I do value my friends, but I'm just saying, like, there is a level of comfort that many Black people, like coworkers, for example, Black coworkers would feel just suddenly a level of comfort with you, and they will just say things like, girl, when you get your hair done? Ooh, girl, your hair's looking rough. Like, that's never been said to me, but I'm just saying, like, I've heard that. I don't think that's been said to me recently, but I've heard of that. I've seen that amongst other relationships, and it's just very strange to me how there's just this comfort level already established when we're just colleagues. I don't really know you, and you don't really know me, and that's okay. But don't get all comfortable in saying something like that, because that is anti-Black. Do my hair have to be smoothed down? Do I have to put this gel down my edges to make you feel comfortable? No. Why, like, when I think about white people, like, are white women saying to each other, your hair's looking kind of real? Like, they don't speak like that. And I'm not saying we gotta mirror our interactions based off of how white people are with each other, but I just think we should just take a look at how other races are with each other. I don't see or hear Spanish people doing it. I keep on saying Spanish, but like Hispanics, I don't see that being done. I only see it primarily in Black communities. And I just wonder, when can we stop doing that? When can we stop dismissing and attacking our Blackness, okay? And praising all types of Black beauty, And I really hate that comment that guy said about Jay-Z, because I could bet you he has an uncle with the big nose like Jay-Z. He has an aunt with big pronounced lips like Jay-Z. Like, nigga, fuck you. Fuck you and yourself. Like, stop. So anti-Black. Like, how you Black and you hate yourself? That's sad. That's really sad. Okay? We're gonna wrap it up here. I am so thankful for every one of you who listen. What I am going to ask is that you continue to rate or start rating my podcast if you haven't yet. So please make sure you are already subscribed. And just make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you leave 5 stars. I'm rooting for 5 stars. So please do so. That is supporting me. That is helping me along this journey of podcasting. I really enjoy doing this. And I just want to see that level of support reciprocated. So thank you again for tuning in. And I'm out. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. Be sure to leave a review, give me 5 stars, and of course, subscribe. Also, follow God Built This Podcast on Instagram at God Built This Pod. God bless.